Welcome to Off the Coast, where we examine the views from Vancouver Island with your host, Rosemary Barnes. New and exciting things, preserved and respected things, business, recreation, politics, travel, all from the point of view of the people living and working on the island. Rosemary is a professional speaker and certified speaking coach living in historic Ladysmith and loving every day of the island life. Here is your Vancouver Island host, Rosemary.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the March 9th version of Off the Coast, Views from Vancouver Island. I'm your host, Rosemary Barnes, and I am so thrilled to welcome today's guest, Wendy Foster. Wendy is a remarkably accomplished woman, and I can't wait for you to meet her. She's an entrepreneur. She's a coach. She's a speaker. She's an author. She's a small business coach. She has a black belt and is an early childhood educator, although I'm really sure those two are not related. With her dynamic personality, high voltage energy, and extreme passion for teaching others, Wendy is the catalyst for leaping out of comfort zones, bursting through hidden blocks, and creating big, bold, delicious lives, both personally and professionally. Wendy Foster, welcome to Off the Coast.
Thank you, Rosemary. I think that's the best introduction I have ever had. I'm so happy to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here. Wendy, you smack of total passion. Seems to me, now I could be dead wrong, and I'm really used to that. I just have to be right once a day to be happy. But what I need to know is, are you passionate as you seem?
Absolutely. Sometimes I've been told to tone it down, actually more times than not. But I refuse.
Good girl. Good girl. Yes, I'm with you on that one. Me too, although you'd never know that. So tell me, of all your passions, have any gone by the wayside? We're going to get to the current ones in a minute. But what are some of the passions that you had as a youth, that you had as a young teenager, and are they still percolating with you, or have you evolved?
That's a very good question. What comes to mind first is I always wanted to work with children. And I did, and it followed out that path. But beyond that, I really wanted to write books for children. And I haven't done that yet, but I will.
Of course you will.
It's still percolating in the background. And now I've got all kinds of stories to go along with that, and even a way to bring them out with squirrels. And that's a whole other topic, so we'll talk on that another day.
Oh, squirrels. Are they shiny?
These squirrels aren't shiny. These are like real squirrels. It's a real life squirrel story that I and my husband Bob will be writing about in the near future. Not right now. I have another passion that's calling me. So that one's tucked away, like you said, but it's not gone by the wayside. It's actually it had been for years, and now it's back, and it's just percolating in the background, as you said.
Nice. I can't wait. So then transfer to today. This is not a today passion that we're going to be talking about today. This is a long-standing passion that you're acting on today.
Absolutely. And that didn't come to me until recently, like last year, of how much my life has been unfolding to bring me to this point and launch in a way that I've never launched before.
Tell us.
Oh, where do I start? Well, let me start here. Last year, beginning of May, I went to an event called A Frockalicious Life, and I came away from that event a changed woman.
Wow.
What do I mean by that? Well, the event was amazing with incredible speakers. Jo Dibley put on the event, and her story is absolutely amazing, as were, the speakers that were on the stage. But I came away from there, and the magic that happened for me is that I went home and I started to write. And I don't mean write as in a paragraph here or a page or two. I meant I wrote every day for 6 to 8 hours per day for 3 months nonstop.
Oh
In
my
fact, I
goodness.
had to be coaxed out of my office to have dinner. It was Wayne Dyer said it really well when he said his books didn't he didn't write his books, they were written through him. And I've always tried to do that, but it never worked for me. Now I understand why. Because you can't try to do something like that. When it's ready to come, it comes. And if you're not ready, you will miss it. But if you are, magic literally happens. And it blew my mind. And that's how I wrote my first book.
That is a powerful, powerful thing. So tell us about the book.
The book, and again, this was a very big surprise. I've been wanting to write this book on stories of my life for years because I've had so many people, so many business people, coaches tell me, Wendy, you need to write your book. But what happened was the very first paragraph that came out was something from my early childhood, a long, not forgotten, but tucked away memory that wasn't very pleasant and that I didn't realize until after writing the book has impacted me and driven me in my passions with kids and adults all my life and still does today. So it was huge to go back to a very disempowering moment in my life and then turn that around and make it be my agenda to empower people for the rest of my life.
That's that's a pretty uh, that's a pretty big life-changing epiphany
Yes.
there, girl. Can you
Yes.
tell us the title of your book?
It is I Am Black, From Blackouts to Black Belts. And
Okay, now, Wendy, excuse me, but I've met you,
yes,
and boy, are you ever not black.
yes, I know. And I did that on
Honey,
purpose.
you must bathe in milk. You are so not black. All right. Now I know you've got
Yes.
a black belt, but you're going to have to tell me now. Is this a mood? Is this a frame of mind? What is the initial black referring to?
When I was coming up with the title, I brainstormed everything, and that name came up 3 or 4 times, and I just kept pushing it aside. But it had nothing to do with that or me. It said, no, this is the title. It's all about coming out of the darkness and seeing the brightness in anything dark in your life. My book doesn't even include all the stories, but there has been alcoholism, there has been suicide, there has been depression and nervous breakdowns, abuse. There's a lot of stories in my life. And for some strange reason, I've been gifted with the ability to rise above and be stronger and teach others. And I think this is the key, teach others how to be that way in their areas of darkness, in their darkest moments, when they are
Hmm,
ready to give up and they just need that one little thing, that one person to say something, do something that makes a difference for them. And I'm driven by that. And it's a subconscious thing. I don't know how big that is until later when people tell me, you said this or you did that. And it made a difference for me. And
that's
I'm
an
talking
off.
big difference. Like I'm
That's an
here today.
awfully. Oh, that's an awfully big gift, Wendy.
It is a big gift. And I'm just starting to acknowledge for myself the magnitude of that. And with that comes responsibility to
Yes.
share it, right? It's up to me to share this gift that I've been given. I mean, I can't learn this stuff. I've done tons of training and development over the years, but this is a gift I've been given because there's a purpose bigger than me. And when I step into it, is it scary? You bet it is. But when I keep going towards that impact for other people and that this gift is meant to be shared, I'm doing a disservice if I don't leap out of my own comfort zones to do that.
So we're talking about trauma here.
Yes.
So the trauma, and trauma is insidious.
Hmm.
It sneaks up at you. You think you've got this handled, and then a little while later, it jumps out of the corner and gets you again.
It sure does.
Mm.
Yes.
Carrying around unresolved trauma and unresolved issues is a very dangerous thing to do. I liken it to a time bomb,
Absolutely.
and it's
And
going to go its time.
there are varying degrees of that too, because you can, for me, going through transitions between working in early childhood education, where it was just amazing and the most fun I've had in my life. But when you get into counseling and you're dealing with people's pain and grief and varying degrees, there's just layers and layers. They always say peeling back the onion.
Yes.
I like to say peeling back the artichoke, because I think the artichoke has something quite beautiful inside, whereas the onion just makes you cry more. And I really believe my model is a little bit different than most, in that I don't want to dig into the past so much. I want to take you where you are right now, touch on something that's affected you all your life, and then bring you right back and throw you into the future where your dreams are, and get you present to your dreams. And dreams and belief are big for me. And I think those are the two main things that have got me to where I am today, is my big dreams. I've been called Pollyanna all my life. And my belief in that I'm meant to do something with this. It's not about me. When I make it about me, that's when I get stuck, or I feel uncomfortable, or I pull back, or I turn around.
Yes.
When I make it about others and about a big vision for my community, my island, of course, and it's all starting here, or the world. And I am going big. My audience has grown to, not my audience, the level of impact I'm now taking on globally, because it's a ripple effect. And we can't do any of this alone. We need each other.
Of
and
course.
it can be such a simple thing that makes a difference for another. And then they share that. It's like that old Clairol commercial, you tell two people and they tell two people.
Yeah.
Only on a very deep level.
I'm far too young to remember that, Wendy.
Me too.
Not that
I
identify
somewhere.
my hair with Clairol number 42 or anything, but So tell me then, what is the vehicle through which you apply your gift to share?
My newest is something I created from years of work and fine-tuning, and really didn't know that I was doing at the time. And what I've discovered is there's a little tool that I use, and I call it the diamond. It's a gem. And when I share that gem with other people and explain to them from my heart what it is in the moment. Now, it doesn't have to be a close friend. It could be a stranger in a restaurant giving exceptional service and not being noticed for it. And I present that in a way with my heartfelt words that usually brings that person, stranger, to tears. And I've noticed we don't do enough of that. We have a lot of criticizing, condemning, complaining, blaming, judgment, fear, scarcity. And we don't have enough of those little things, even a smile. If somebody is looking really grumpy and you give them a smile, sometimes you might get a bigger grumpy look back. Most times you might get a little crook, in the smile, partial smile, or a big smile. And it's the little things and adding on and choosing to make a difference when you think about it, instead of saying, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Yes, it does. If you want to compliment somebody on their fancy bright shoes, do so. Don't just think about it. When you do, not only does it make them feel good, it opens up a conversation. And then there's something magic happens there, and it just builds. Oh, I'm getting a frog in my throat just talking about it.
It's people need to be recognized as being human and simply being. Recognize me, I'm here, I exist.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And it's not even recognize me, I matter, or recognize me, look at me, oh, look at me. It's not that at all. We just need to be seen.
Absolutely. You just hit the nail on the head. Please see me. Please hear me. I have a voice, and I am here. And that's a child. And if I go back just a minute, that's where it started for me. I don't know how much we want to go into story here, but out of writing my book, I realized my father committed suicide just before my 3rd birthday.
Oh,
And at that time, and with, the ability of my mom and my siblings to manage, it was the belief back then was Wendy's too young to know anything. So nothing got talked about. And I
oh dear.
wasn't permitted to have questions, or I wasn't permitted to have, uh, you know, one day my dad is here, one day my dad is gone. You can't tell me that doesn't affect a 3-year-old, because I studied a lot of years early childhood education to really get into the mind, probably of my own mind at the time, so I could understand why I am the way I am as I was growing up.
Yes.
Um, that had a huge impact on me, and I had a huge impact then on every child I touched in my work. And I have some amazing stories around that, but we don't have enough time for that. um,
You must have felt so.
including graduation. Having a parent say to me when their child is graduating high school, "Nobody, my daughter hasn't had a single teacher that has done for her what you did for her," and this was preschool.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and I don't take credit for that. That's my gift coming through, and
You
now
must
it's
have
expanded.
felt, at 3 years old, you must have felt so alone.
Yes, yes. And
In,
that's what came out last year on the stage, not on the stage, but at the event, is, wow, it's time for me to have that voice of that 3-year-old and the 5-year-old from my next very traumatic experience. It's time to share that voice so other people know they're not alone. They can do it no matter what it is. They can get through it. They'll understand there's a reason why they're resilient. And sometimes people take their um, ways of being, like maybe they are protected, or maybe they are um, not assertive, but maybe aggressive, because they're acting upon something that they learned really young. And once they recognize that, they can turn it around and become assertive rather than aggressive.
yes.
So there's all kinds of things that they get tied up in that. And yes, it's all about shutting down at a young age. And most of us do that. There's something. It could be bullying in school. It could be a teacher. Raise your hand for answering the question. You get it wrong, you get laughed at. And we make it at a young age mean something more than it is. And
Yes.
we carry it. Yes.
But the thing about uh, not knowing what happened to your father at 3, oh my goodness, I don't know whether you felt more abandoned or imprisoned
Two
with
very
your
good
own
words.
doubt, with your own questions.
Absolutely. And, to be truthful, the more I do this kind of thing and explore on a more, and share on a more higher level, like with a larger audience, the more I understand my journey and where I'm at
Hmm.
and why it's so important to me to do what I'm doing now. And that
Right,
now is today, but also what was my now back in the day when I was teaching daycare
right.
and preschool, right? Same thing.
So tell us more about the the GEM project. Tell us
Absolutely.
how it manifests. How do you exactly, what is it? How do you get it rolling? What happens? What's the result? Tell us about the GEM project.
Great. Well, the GEM project came out of, after writing the book, I just realized there's something, my purpose is to impact people and have them see their greatness on a different level. And it can't be through the counseling and the coaching, because I can only do that one-on-one. I'll back up a little bit and give you a little story of an event that happened. My mother-in-law was actually having an off day, and she's a super jolly, wonderful, joyous person. And I don't
Mm,
like to see her sad.
right.
And she was having an off day, and I immediately remembered this gem that I used to teach with. And I ran to my room and I grabbed the gem and I brought it out, and I stopped her at the top of the stairs. And I proceeded to tell her how important she is to me, what she means to me, what a gem she is, not only to me, but to her family and everyone whose lives she touched. And I opened her hands and I presented her with this little gem. And I closed up her hands and shared a bit more. And she cried. And she's a woman of composure and not very emotional, opposite of me. And right in that moment, I got the impact. And for the next few nights, I started thinking about, I couldn't stop thinking about the power of this gem, and I have to do something with it. And the first idea came up 2:00 in the morning, seems to be when things happen for me. I got online and I found this young fellow in the States that was doing mela spud. That's mela potato. And I thought, this is crazy. Being my family's all from PEI, so I thought, well, if I want to do a money-making thing, I'm going to go to PEI and do mela spud. But it wasn't about the money, it was about the message. And I immediately thought, after I talked to him, I did go online and talk to him personally. I thought, you know what? Mail a gem. We need to mail a gem and do this thing. So I got the name and started working on that idea. And then I went, you know what? There's so much more when you give 2 words even, or even eye contact or touching somebody's hand in person. It has to be more than that. And it developed and it developed. I started testing it out in the marketplace with people in a restaurant, and I'm thinking it's easy for me to acknowledge a waitress, but I actually scouted out a person in a local restaurant bar, and I noticed him in the back in the kitchen. He didn't fit in. He didn't have his white scrubs on. He had dreadlocks. He was like, I'm thinking, okay, something's different with this. And I asked the host and bartender, and she said, oh yeah, it's his day off today, but his buddy had something happen and he's coming in to give him a hand. Well, I couldn't help myself. So I said, do you mind calling him over so I can chat with him? And she had already I told her a little bit of the story about the GEM project, and she brought him out, and I asked him questions about his life and what his dreams are. And then out of my own pocket, I took my own gem and I presented it to him and told him, you know what? Follow your dreams. I already see you. I just met you. You're 23 years old. You're probably looking at me like you are a crazy old lady. But he listened and he cried and he thanked me. And I'm going, okay, it's confirmation. Wendy, keep going. You're on the right track.
Wow.
So where this is going and what this is about, my passion is about empowering people every day, making it a daily habit, making it accessible for people that don't do this. I do this naturally, so it comes easy for me. I think then that it comes easy for everybody, and it doesn't. We are not a society of easy, we don't have it down for giving and receiving. So what about if I create this product and a system that help people who aren't that way make those kinds of moments? Maybe it's a granddaughter. Maybe it's a daughter. Maybe it's a son. Maybe it's a mother. Maybe it's an estranged family member. Maybe it's a stranger. But what I do know for sure is when people take this little product and present it in a way, and they're given, help to do that, it makes it an impact that blows my mind. And if somebody else around is a part of that and listens to it, sees it, hears it, it makes an impact there. And in that restaurant example, that waitress or bartender hostess said to me, you should be talking to our manager. You should be training our staff. And I'm going, all out of something spontaneous, off the cuff, just from my heart. And yes, I should be. And so should lots of other people. So the whole idea of the GEM project, it's like the Pay It Forward movie from back in the, I think it was the 80s. I
love that movie.
I cry I've watched that movie so many times, and I cry before because I know what's going to happen. I cry before the scenes happen. But it's all about that. And I actually use that in some of my presentations. I use a clip from that because it's so simple. There's a young boy wanting to make a difference, doesn't think he can, doesn't think he will, and he has no clue how widespread his small actions were. That just, even now, I'm very moved by that. And we all have that. And we all, if we learn a new habit, a daily habit, just like brushing your teeth, of giving an empowerment moment every day, can you imagine what impact that will have on our world? And that's my global vision. If we each do this, one moment, one gem at a time, making an impact, it will spread and it will change the world. And instead of coming from, I'm going to get emotional, scarcity and lack and judgment and blame, we're going to come from love and abundance and joy and collaboration. And that's the world I envision. And that's my purpose. And that's why there's no hiding anymore behind anything, because I've made it. I'm on your show. I'm already expressing it to all your listeners. It's needed.
It is
and
needed.
It's an easy way for us to take a step. And you know what? Somebody said to me, even my own daughter said to me, well, Mom, people would just copy that and go do it. I said, that's awesome. She said, what do you mean? She just graduated from business school.
And so this is not business savvy.
I said, it's awesome because the purpose is to have them impact people. If they do that in their own way, are you kidding me? I'm so happy. It's not about me. It's not about my product. Mine is a tool and a venue. If anyone is inspired to go do something on their own this way, they are part of the movement.
That's right. I am right now looking at your product. So let me explain for those of you who have not seen the product. I have in front of me 5 little chiffon bags with a lovely little ribbon tying it up. Inside the bag is a card, and the cards read either hope, love, believe, dream, and joy. And inside with the card is a gem, a little diamond. And it's about more than
millimeters.
20 millimeters. Thank you. It's 20 millimeters across. So it's a nice size, but it certainly isn't too big to nicely fit in your pocket.
It's called a pocket gem. Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And so it's exactly the right size to place nicely in the palm of someone's hand.
Absolutely.
Or to sneak it into their pocket when they're not looking and let them find it and find it.
That is so fun.
It is so fun. So and you can purchase the gems. And
yes.
you can purchase them one at a time, or you can purchase them 5 at a time, or you can purchase them 3 at a time, and you can purchase them for individuals in mind, or you can purchase them for when you feel the need to share.
Yes, and not only that, but if you have maybe you're part of maybe you have a small business and you have 8 or 10 staff, or you're doing a corporate meeting, or you're doing something where you're involving a lot of people, a little acknowledgement goes a long way. So the gem also, and I'm actually currently creating an elegant package. I'll change the name for that, but for now it's called the elegant package because it's going to be black and silver, more corporate, and a bit smaller. To then say and surprise. That's the whole deal. Surprise people with an acknowledgement for them. And you never know what that word might mean to them. And now I have 15 words.
Tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, achieve.
And achieve.
You want all the words? Inspire. Inspire and empower are my favorite of these words. Succeed. Passion. Fun. If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. And that's why this is all working so nicely. Motivate. Friend. Team. And the last, but the most important one, gratitude.
There you are.
Yes.
So
there's a sneak peek. Nobody else knows that.
Nobody knows
Only your
that.
Listeners.
So how do we participate in this? There
are lots of ways to participate. Individually, go to the website. It's www.thegemproject.ca. You can order right off there. If you want to do larger orders for corporate or schools or packs, anything like that, just contact me directly and we will work something out for you. Also, and this is going to be happening until the end of May, I am coming to do GEM presentations free of charge. Whether you have a small group of friends in your home or you have a business networking group, which I've got 2 booked already, or you have a business training, whatever your need where you can see something for this. It doesn't take a lot of time. I could do a 10-minute presentation that will knock people's socks off and get them into tune of how great a difference they can make. Nothing to do with me. They can make for somebody else.
So
and
I have a
all
question.
Free of charge.
Sorry. Oh,
those are
great.
all free of charge for the next until the end of May.
Perfect. Now I have a question for you.
Yes.
This all sounds very female.
Yes.
How are men receiving it?
I'm waiting back on a couple testimonials for men to put actually on the website, and I'll be drawing more on those. My husband is a huge supporter of this and recognizes the big dream. Now, let me tell you about him briefly so that you get the male perspective. He's a football guy. He's a karate guy. So I listen to him when he says this is a good idea because he gets it.
Okay.
And I can see down the road that he and I together will be presenting something in a different way. And actually, we did a little bit of that already. It really does have to be presented on both sides. Right now, because I am female, I have my perspective. As we grow, as I bring Bob in more, and as we expand and get more, I've already got people, business people coming up to me, men, saying, this is fantastic.
Yes.
And I'm moved by this. And really, isn't that great? Because men haven't traditionally been allowed to do that. We have full reign as women. We're very lucky that way in this particular area. But men, it's vulnerable for them to reach out and do this kind of thing.
Yes.
And I have a few men that are actually more than a few. I have lots of men that are fully supportive, and I will be focusing on them to share their piece because they need to have their voice and they need to share for the people out there who say, well, that's great for the women, but I can't do that, until they hear a fellow man, if that makes sense. It allows them then permission to do the same, right?
Can you imagine how strong it would be for a father to hand his son a pocket diamond and say, believe? Or
Absolutely.
Dream.
Yes.
Oh,
I got goosebumps, Rosemary.
Yes. Or
and that is my goal.
Yes.
It's across all ages. It's across all genders, all races, all countries. This is global. And I have no idea how I'll present in India or China or Japan or Africa. But when the time comes, I will, or I'll have people that will. It's not about me. Somebody will take this on and they will expand in their country. How cool is that?
What does G.E.M, G.E.M, does that, it's an anachronism for something.
Yes.
What is
Giving, empowering moments.
And you've simply created a physical manifestation of that in the form of a mini gem, a pocket gem.
Yes. And that's a tool. That's a tool for people to use.
Yes.
And it's also a tool to spark their imagination for themselves.
Yes.
Because I'm the kind of person that I can find. I use little gold trophies from the dollar store that say number 1 on them. And I know for a fact that the one of the radio show guys in PEI still has that on his desk because I gave him the number 1 trophy for the number 1 announcer.
Oh, excellent.
And it doesn't take much to use your imagination. And the trick is, it's not a trick. The treat is when you speak from the heart, it really doesn't matter whether you're giving somebody a $5,000 diamond or you're giving them something that represents that value. And the pocket gem is that. And I have other products because I'm like the squirrel and I get distracted easily. I can't go to my other products right now, but I have a whole line of other products and tools to help people find their way. What's the best way that I can express myself and do this? Maybe it's one of those plastic bracelets that are popular.
Yes.
Maybe it's a journal. Maybe it's a bookmark. Maybe it's a greeting card. Maybe it's a purse or a t-shirt. There will be, my favorite one coming up second will be a little deck of mini cards. Every single one has a gem on it and an inspirational saying. And I would love to do that right now, and I have to stop myself because it will distract me from my bigger purpose.
Right.
So,
and I haven't done that yet. Yes.
Yeah. So
and
those
I haven't
are
done
things
that
that
yet,
are
and I haven't
part
done
of it.
that yet. Yep. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me that because like you, I walk up to people wherever I see them and go, "Nice hat."
Yes.
I used to embarrass my kids so
Yes.
badly when they were small because, of course, I taught them not to be frightened of strangers, but to be aware.
Yes,
and,
of course.
But when I would chat with everybody in the grocery store and we'd sing, I used to embarrass them so badly. Mom, quit talking to everybody.
Yes.
And
oh,
I'm
yes.
going,
Oh,
why?
Mom.
Yeah, yeah. And because when I walk down the street and I see a homeless person, I don't have to give them anything but recognition that they exist.
Yes.
But how much of an impact would it be to give them a little gem and the word hope?
Yes, exactly. And you've just brought another piece of it that I haven't mentioned to too many people yet.
Okay.
The project, which is 10% of all proceeds go to charity.
Wow.
And those charities are locally and internationally. I'm part of a couple of organizations that I feel deeply for, and they represent a local organization. One of them will be indirectly because of my own heart, and a couple others are the Shoebox Project for Shelters, which I want to have every gem in across Canada to start. I'll start with the island. We have
the island, yes.
We have a really great island community here, and most of my time has been spent in Victoria. I'm relatively new to Nanaimo, but I love Nanaimo, and now I'm claiming the whole island. For the first time in many, many years, I call Vancouver Island home. I used to call PEI home, Prince Edward Island, because that's where my family is. That's where I was brought up. But now it's like, when I came back here a year and a half ago, it was like, this is home and my heart is here. And so the GEM project is starting here, and everything, and I will stay here. I have no inclination to be anywhere else. I absolutely love the beauty of this island, the people here, the warmth, just so much about it. So back to what you said earlier.
Yeah, you are definitely an island girl, is what we can deduce from this. East Coast, West Coast, whatever coast, as long as you're on an island and we have better weather than the other coast.
Yes, I'm looking outside as we speak, and it's raining and it's a bit gray. And I go, but that's okay because I do not have to go out there with a shovel.
That's right.
And I never, ever, ever will have 17 feet of snow, which they did in PEI last year.
Oh dear. So here you are on Vancouver Island, and you are covering the island pretty much. You have placed your stake on Vancouver Island, and you are making sure that people on the island are the first benefactors.
Absolutely.
Of your project.
Yes. This is my home. So you start with, this is my family, right? The island here is my family. And I've had been involved with networks and women in Victoria for over 20 years. My business then wasn't conducive to what I can do now. And yeah, my roots are here. This island is paradise to me.
Yes, it is.
And we are so far, we're still, the world's best kept secret. It's changing. And you notice with Vancouver real estate market and now Victoria and even the NIMO is, it's jumping up there. Pretty soon, this area is going to be sought out all over the world because we have everything here. It's absolutely
Yes, we do.
fabulous.
Including the best people in the world. So,
Yes. And you bringing them all together.
Ah, bless your heart. That was a very kind thing of you to say. So here's what I want to know then is once you have all the islanders helping each other feel empowered, do you have a plan for where you're going next?
Well, they have been enticing me pretty strongly to Vancouver, but I just tell them, not yet.
Not ready?
Yes, I will share. I will do events in Vancouver, and for some certain people, I have some circles over there that are pretty amazing as well. I will, my second step will be to do something there. But I really do believe that the people on the island here will be taking whatever it is for them that has meaning for them and their purpose and passion to spread, and they'll spread it where they need to go. Now,
Yes.
We all know that lots of people here are from somewhere else. In PEI, we call it from away. And when you're from away, sometimes you're an outcast. But you always have another home to go to. Will I be taking this to PEI? Absolutely, on a big scale.
Yes.
But my goal is to have everybody take it where it needs to go. If I've got a friend who's from Switzerland, then, he can take it back to his family and share it there. Somebody there will say, I want to take this on. Great. Please do. Please go do your part. Make a difference in your community. Make a difference in your city. Make a difference in your country. Mm-hmm. And when we all do that, then it spreads across the world.
I have to tell you that the movie that you referenced, Pay It Forward,
yes,
was shown by hook, by crook, by some way and means. When I was a teacher, it was shown to all of my students every year. If I was teaching theater, it was to analyze the theatrics, the sets, the camera work. If I was teaching English, it was for another reason. When I was teaching whatever it was I was teaching, I even showed it to music students so that they could analyze the music score. But that was the film of choice, because as soon as they got the idea, they watched the show, and they would go ahead and take that concept and run with it.
Yes.
So that Pay It Forward became a way of life.
Oh, and that is exactly it. And yes. I didn't know this about you till just now. So it adds even a bit more intrigue to why we're having this conversation. So much. Everything comes together for a reason.
Yeah.
And the people, places, circumstances, like The Secret, or like you, I've done when I was teaching, especially at-risk youth. Mm-hmm. I brought in films that would challenge their thinking, like The Secret or What the Bleak We Know. And I would pause it and take it apart and share it with them. And at first they're like, arms crossed, this is a bunch of you know what.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying into that.
Oh, by the end of the movie. Yeah, by the end of the movie, they're not like that.
No, because people need people to believe in them, first off, I think. And that doesn't matter if you are a child or an adult or a senior. When you have somebody who sees who you really are, despite anything going on around you or your circumstance, you're not your circumstance. You are brilliant, abundant love, each and every one of us. And when we can give that message to somebody else in a way, and sometimes it's subtle and quick and a stranger, and sometimes it's a harder, longer process with somebody who we're actually close to.
Yes.
But when they get that, there's just magic happens, because that's who we really are.
It's easy. Yes, we do forget. It's easy though, here on Vancouver Island, here in Canada, to in to forget how grateful we should be and how
Oh,
easy it is here to give empowering moments.
yes.
However, let's think about the situation in Syria,
Yes,
where the
absolutely.
beautiful, beautiful city of Damascus has been reduced to death and rubble.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
nothing left of that glorious place.
And the
And
people are
now,
left with extreme fear.
and the people are left traumatized,
Yes.
in fear, without homes, without belonging, without anything. Now, let's just picture for just a second what would happen to them if we gave them an empowering moment.
Oh, well,
One
I
that
have seen
said,
this. I've seen
believe.
that on the news, right? Like
Yeah.
um, a child or an adult just so grateful to be out of the bomb zone and that they don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be looking around saying, am I going to have a family member? Not am I going to lose my home? Am I going to have my family member here with me in 5 minutes?
Yes. Yes.
And to look at us Canadians and go, thank you, thank you, thank you. And some of us do accept them with open arms and some don't. And that's because they come from a place of fear as well.
Yes.
And there is a maritime mentality that I'm very familiar with, that scarcity mentality that overrides our
Yes.
natural human nature. And the giving empowering moments, one gem at a time, one heart at a time, one smile at a time, is
Mm-hmm.
all about getting back to that actual natural human nature that we all have.
And you get back so much more than you give.
Oh, 50-fold, 100-fold, 10,000
Yes.
fold.
Yes.
Yes.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
And the question is, you are an inspiration to so many people because you came from a place of, well, 3 years old, living in your own abandoned imprisonment, and turning into this woman of hope and goodwill and love and empowerment. Who inspires you? Because you inspire so many, but who inspires you?
I laugh when you say that. I don't think I inspire so many yet, but I will. Who inspires me? Oh my gosh, pretty much everybody inspires me. Some of
Mm.
my most recent role models who inspire the heck out of me, obviously Joe Dibley from Frock Off, because
Mhm.
she, whatever it was that I was there for, there's a whole other story that will come out later about that and where I was at that time. It was a very rough time in my life just last year.
Oh.
Um, that inspired me. She inspired me. And she also opened doors during that same women's conference. I met Colin Sprake from Make Your Mark Training, who has opened up business ideas for me that I didn't think possible. Because I'm the dreamer. I'm like, it's always like, Wendy, get your head out of the clouds and get with the real world. And now I'm realizing that I can marry the two and I can have my big dream and have it a business model and have it work for everybody. That's a new concept for me.
That's a
Um,
big one.
huge, huge. Obviously, Oprah Winfrey has been a factor in my life forever. Wayne Dyer, God bless his soul. I didn't get the chance to meet him, and so another thing that I have is like, stop waiting when you have an urge to do something like that. Just do it, because time doesn't wait for anyone, and we don't know if our time is up tomorrow. Um, so act on your heart impulses today and meet the people that you want to meet. Be with the people you want to be. If you're afraid, find somebody to help you. Take the leap, take a hand. Like, I firmly believe that if we encourage each other and help each other to get where we're going, then we'll get where we need to go. And everyone's afraid of something. So what do I say about that?
Fear
Inspiration.
is, yes.
Well,
And
inspiration. Okay, you, Rosemary, you are creating this radio show, bringing people together, sharing their stories. that inspires people. Anyone who listens and catches a glimpse that's right for them, they might shut off on, this person or that person. They might catch 5 seconds that work for them. Awesome. Then you've
Mm-hmm.
made a huge difference that you wouldn't have made if you didn't take the leap to take on the radio show. There's boldness. When we express our boldness in whatever level that is, somebody else benefits. And I think that's the key. For me, it is. If I focus on how much this can impact other people, then I can leap out of my own comfort zones and say, I can do this because it's not about me. If I get into ego and say, let's say for a product, for example, oh, wow, I can, get a product made in China and make lots of money. Well, first off, that will kill everything I have because I'm not about that. And next off, it's not about the product. It's about the impact people make. If I have a tool that helps people make an impact, then I'm happy. If I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to sell a product, I will never do it. Ever, ever, ever.
Well, that's
Even in
right,
my
because
even in my futon days when I had a retail business with futons and furniture, I told my husband at the time, I will only come into this business if you let me do it my way. No quotas, no numbers, no nothing. I'm about people. And yes, I'm excelling at customer service. Let's see how we do with sales.
mm-hmm.
And I would send people, oh, you're looking for that? We don't have that. I'll send you here. You don't have that? Okay, I'm going to send you there. Because people then understood and trusted me that I'm out for them and not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people would take advantage. It always happens, but if you wear your heart on your sleeve, you are going to get run over by the few. But I have a friend named Label Braun who tells me, but Wendy, never cover your scars because that's who you are. And that's how I can trust that if you say something, you're talking to me. And it's not about you. So everything boils down to the same thing. I think every single person, from the day we're born, when we're born, we know the brilliance in babies. Who doesn't laugh and smile at a baby and they got you wrapped around your little finger?
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the line, and at various ages and stages, it gets worn away of the essence of who we truly are.
And we begin to
So,
hide.
yeah, and for
Yeah.
good reason. And we have to protect ourselves. My
Yes,
whole
yes.
goal is, how about we just, find out that little spark inside that you have that's unique to you. Nobody else has it because nobody else has your life experience, especially as an adult. Nobody else has your life experience. So only you can deliver what it is you have to deliver and go do it. And it's scary. Absolutely, it's scary. So get people to help you.
Mm.
Get people to
So
help you and join together.
that's right. And when people are in need of a little helping hand, offer them yours.
Absolutely. And I've been doing that recently, and it's been such an empowering thing. Today, I was
Mm-hmm.
stressed out about my computer. First, my
Yes.
Facebook thing didn't work, so I'm prepping for this call, and it's not working. Not Facebook, Skype.
Yes.
And then I had another technical issue, and then I had a family issue, and then it was compounding, and I went, oh my, I can feel my anxiety going up.
Mm-hmm.
And I dealt with them bit by bit. I got them all handled. And I had to rely on saying, a friend said, well, let me help you. Now, what you don't know about me is it's very challenging for me to ask for help. And it's very hard for me to accept help. So the
Are
GEM
we
project is going
sisters?
to the GEM project is going to beat that out of me.
Yeah, I think we must be sisters because I too will bend over backwards for you, but I give me something and I become so uncomfortable. I don't
And that's the whole key. It's a package, right? It's not just giving and receiving. Some of us are givers and we're awesome at it, but we
Yes.
can't receive. Some of us are great receivers, but we don't know how to give.
Yes.
And
So
all of us need to pay it forward. And when we
always,
learn something new, share it. When you learn something new, teach it. And
you
I'm all
bet.
about the teaching right now because in the teaching, I will grow to the next level that I need to be at. And I need to do a lot of teaching before I can grow to the next level. And for me, all of us, it's like, you know what? We help each other. We grow, we change, we excel. Surround yourself with people who understand, even if they think you're totally crazy, which most of my family does. Most of my family thinks I'm totally nuts. It doesn't matter. But hang on to the people that see and understand what your dream and vision is, and use them for support. Not use them. Listen to them for support, and really hear what they have to receive, what they have to say, because they're your gems, and we can't see our own brilliance ever.
No.
My husband is probably an exception to the rule. He is probably the most self-confident person I've ever met in my life, and he doesn't have any problem expressing himself and who he is, but he's the exception to the rule. Most of us need to have somebody tell us once in a while, I really like what you're doing. You're making a difference. Here's what I did with the product, and it's amazing. Thank you for saying what you said to me because you made my day.
Yes. Yes.
And it can be as simple as posting something on Facebook, something inspirational. And let me share a quick story.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I've been doing a lot of Facebook inspirational posts. I have yet to learn how to do the meme thing, and I need to do that quickly. But I share other people's posts all the time. And I stopped because I was told, you post this stuff all the time. You post too much. And I took it as a real negative thing. I'm doing something wrong. Goes back to, 5-year-old mentality. So I stopped. And within a week, I had people emailing me saying, are you okay? You're not posting anything on Facebook. I'm not getting my inspirational thing of the day. I had no idea the impact I was having from people. These are from Boston, from California, from Seattle, from Northern BC, from Ontario. And I went, I had no clue because I'm not doing it for any purpose other than if I can brighten a day today and somebody opens up their Facebook and they see something great instead of the media, I apologize to the media, but for something gruesome or sad or wrong, then yes, I will post 20 times a day if I need to.
There you go. So tell me, you were talking about, if I recall correctly, you talked about your first book. Are you saying there's more than one now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
My first book was a breakthrough for me. It really isn't meant for, this is going to sound really crazy, but it really wasn't meant for other readers. Publishing it was putting myself out there in a way that was very vulnerable that I needed to do.
Okay.
So I didn't do a book launch like I was told to do. All this stuff, I know what to do exactly to make a bestseller and all that stuff, and I could have done it. And it's like, I don't want to do it. It's not about that. The next book will be all about the G.E.M project and people writing in. So say you purchase a G.E.M and you give it to somebody, and here's the impact. You write back and share the impact on them and on you, and we share the stories. And I want videos, and I want people to tell me, share, what was that like for you? And if it was just a sentence, great. If it's a word, great. If it's a whole story of 3 pages, I'm going to publish it. And we're going to have the G.E.M story book of people who are paying it forward with the G.E.M project, which has nothing to do with me. And that's what I like about it. I can promote other people and other stories, and it will just feed me to keep going. When I get stuck myself, which I will, and go, I can't do this big, I can't go that far, it'll be like, yes, you can. Look at all these people who are making a difference in the world on a minute level and on a huge level. Like, it can save a life, and I mean that truly. I'm not fluffing feathers.
I understand.
Sometimes it means if somebody, I'll go back to Chicken Soup for the Soul for a second. Marcy Shimoff, when I saw her on stage, she is a part of the Chicken Soup for the Soul, so she shared 3 stories. One of them was about 3 ribbons and delivering them, and that was my confirmation. Wendy, you're on the right track. Just keep going.
Okay.
And if you can make a difference in a life that with somebody who wants to take their life, there's no price on that.
No, there isn't.
Just
So
like back in the day when I volunteered all over the city in schools for karate. It wasn't because I was a good karate teacher, because I'm not. I suck. But I knew I could see in 30 girls who walked in as a potential victim and who would walk out as a potential victor. And that was
and
my $1 million.
that's
That was my $1 million moment. I will never forget it, ever. Her face,
Wendy,
everything
you
about her.
are truly the master of giving empowering moments. Thank you for sharing your 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 story of sharing and giving strength to others, seeing other people. It has been wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you for being a guest on today's Off the Coast.
Rosemary, thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful. I just so look forward to watching the show expand, watching people expand, and we're all in this together, especially here on the island.
We are. So
It's
thank
awesome.
you very much, Wendy. Thank you very much. And be sure to share this with all of your people just by sending them to www.boldradiostation.com, and you'll be able
Absolutely.
to share it wherever you go. Thank
I
you,
will.
Wendy. Now,
Thank
just
you.
quickly, you're very welcome. Just quickly before we sign off, I'd like to just give an extra shout out here for Nanaimo's festival. It is Festival Nanaimo time. And on Saturday, March the 12th, at 7:30 p.m., Barrage is taking the stage at the Port Theatre. If you have never seen Barrage in performance, this is a passionate outpouring of energy and musical brilliance that pours off the stage. If you want to get empowered through music, if you want to have just waves of passion coming off you in the stage and feeling yourself buoyed up, then you must make it down to the Port Theatre this coming Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Off the Coast Views from Vancouver Island for Wednesday, March the 9th. I look forward to having you back again next week.
Thank you for listening to Off the Coast, Views from Vancouver Island, with host Rosemary Barnes. To book Rosemary as a speaker or speaking coach, or to offer suggestions of extraordinary guests for the show, please visit her website at www.confidentstages.com.